Welcome to This Week in Mariemont Warriors Sports here on ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports. It's the AD podcast. I'm Jason Grefer, and we're joined by Mariemont AD Tom Nerl. Tom, good to talk to you during these interesting times here. First of all, how are you and your family holding up?
Everybody's holding up. It's just crazy for everybody. Not getting out, just changing your whole operations as everybody is, and then not having the sports to go to at night. It's crazy. It's difficult, but if this is what we have to do, then this is what we'll do to overcome it.
Can I
How
ask
about you
how,
guys?
I'm doing good. We have family staying safe here, and really doing everything you could ask for from everybody that's just told you what we need to do. Can I ask you how your knees are holding up?
Knees are well. So the surgically repaired knee is good. We're just about 4 months out of that. So the rehab has been well and finished that right before the shutdown. That's good. Starting some little exercising outside. The weather's been great for that. What great weather we've had the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last couple of years have been rainy first couple of weeks. And then this year, outstanding first 2 weeks. So just crazy all around.
It's ironic that the time when the sports seasons are postponed, that the weather's fantastic, whereas the last couple of years, and you can speak to this better than I can as an athletic director, everything's seemingly postponed or rescheduled because of rain.
Yes, in the last couple of years, just trying to reschedule games, and then you get to May and you have all these reschedules you have to do. If we had been playing our seasons, I'm sure the lacrosse players would be huffing and puffing that it's warmer than usual. Baseball, softball players would be complaining that their arms are tired and sore. So just crazy just to have this weather. But, hopefully we get through this, and hopefully May rolls around and May 1 gets here, and hopefully we can start things back up.
That is the hope for everybody involved. I know that, obviously. Last time we talked, we were kind of winding down the winter season, and before the spring sports season was really starting to ramp up. Let's go back to that time in and around Mariemont High School when everything with COVID-19 was really starting to ramp up and the threat was there, and it looked like maybe we're on the verge of having to shut everything down. And ultimately it did. Can you take us through kind of what the vibe was around the school, what people were saying, the mood was, those types of things?
Yeah, we were really hopeful that things would start up. Lacrosse, boys and girls lacrosse had a couple of scrimmages in. Our basketball had just wrapped up. Our swimmers had wrapped up about 2 weeks before the state tournament for swimming. So we did not have any wrestlers or basketball teams still involved in the tournament. But we were looking down the gauntlet. We're about a week away, 5 days away from the boys opening their lacrosse season. We were 5 days away from the baseball teams taking a trip to the Ripken Experience in Myrtle Beach, just watching things that were going on nationally and discussing, does the trip stay on? Do we play these games? How does it go? And Governor DeWine was giving us his updates. Our superintendent was very supportive and engaging things. He was on that, every day, giving our district updates with what we were thinking. And we really thought we were going to get that first week in. The places we were talking about going, and the distance of the sport of baseball and lacrosse, keeping their personal distance. We thought we may be able to get that in, but then the governor came with the stay-at-home order, and the OHSAA had given the order to shut down sports. We were ready to play a lacrosse scrimmage with no fans. That would have been interesting. The officials would not have known what to do without any fans in the stands telling them what calls to make. And then, of course, the baseball trip. Just days away from that trip to Myrtle Beach. Just everything got canceled and put on hold. We had told our athletes, grab your stuff so you can take it home to practice with. We don't know how long this is going to last. And so that was it. We had one good last practice, I think, on that Friday with everybody, and haven't seen anybody face-to-face since. Everything else we've been doing, of course, has been online or through chats or FaceTime or Zoom. So that's pretty much how we wrap things up.
So when the OHSAA gave this order that not only that the winter postseason had been canceled, but then the spring sports had been postponed, how did you go about those discussions when you got the word from Jerry Snodgrass that everything is shut down? What were those discussions like with your coaches?
Well, we'd given the coaches a heads up a couple of days earlier that, this is coming, be prepared. We're going to do as much as we can to keep our seasons going. Business as usual as we go. And then as we got into those last couple of days, we started to see, hey, there may be a shutdown here. Coaches, let's just keep going. try to maintain that normalcy for our athletes was the most important thing. And then once the shutdown came, we really expressed our coaches to maintain the contact with their teams, send something out. We had, of course, on the Mariemont Sports website, posted some workouts from our strength coach of things kids could do at home to stay strong. We took the first 5 days as calamity days, just as you would snow days. The second 5 days from school was spring break, so it was a natural break built into the schedule. And then, last week was our first week back, so the kids got online with their Zoom classes and all that. I see a few of them in the neighborhood running around. I'll go down to the park and see them shooting lacrosse. Saw a number of baseball players spread out and tossing the other day, keeping their distance in the park on Saturday morning. So it's good to see our kids are staying active and active and hopeful, which is what we want right now.
And through everything that's gone on with this and seeing the student athletes and talking to your coaches and whatnot, how much has mental health been a part of that discussion to keep everybody's minds as well as they possibly can during this time?
A lot of that's coming through our school, especially through our teachers. But just to be on the lookout, stay in touch if you get any signs or have any discussions with anybody. Point them in the right directions. Just keeping an eye on everybody. We normally do that, but this time's a little bit more afraid, and so our communications from our school district to our parents and our students has been pretty strong. So that's been the leader for that aspect of it there.
And as we've gone along here and as students are starting to adjust, and as you said, back in as far as online learning classes go, trying to do as much as they can, these spring athletes, to stay game ready because the season is still possible. How do you feel like they have adjusted as this process has gone along?
Now, I've got an athlete here in my house, and she's staying pretty active. I know they're just going a little stir crazy. They're used to being out and running around. They just can't do it right now. And I'm sure the socialization part, even though they can communicate on Snapchat or whatever else they use, the FaceTiming, the Zoom, that helps. But just, being in a classroom with your friends, being at practice with your friends, it's a give and take that happens every day. This, as I said, the weather's been great. So our kids would have been outside having lunch on campus and burn off some steam. That's a big part of their day, and we don't want to overlook that or just be nonchalant about that. So, a little bit more difficulty here. We had one of our junior students, Evan Barnes, passed away in the last week in a car accident. So, just helping our students mourn through that, to honor him through that process. We had a candlelight vigil throughout the district Saturday night. Asked everyone to put a candle in that. Just trying to support the family, support the classmates that way. Our teachers have been doing a great job with that. So, that's the best you can do at this time. And so hopefully our best is enough.
How has that interaction or lack thereof been for you? I mean, obviously you're used to being in the school every day, seeing coaches, talking to players. Hey, good job here. Good job there. Great game. Nice job on that play there. How has it been for you to not have that?
As the athletic director, I have a good amount of interaction, but not as much as the coaches do day to day. I know the coaches are really missing that back and forth. Talked with two of our coaches this morning, and that's really the part they miss, is the back and forth. I just miss seeing the kids in the hallways, as I would see them at different class times and, just saying hi to them or checking on them for their games that day, or, give them hey, let's go get them, or good luck tonight. And just not seeing that, not having that energy in the hallways, just not having that energy that the kids bring to school every day. That's really been tough. Just not having to rely on that. We feed off their energy as much as they feed on ours. I've told a couple of the parents that I know of kids that, I usually have to tell them to clean up their table at lunchtime. That I'll come and yell at their kids if they're missing me, for that lunchtime table cleanup. So freshman boys, if you're watching this, just make sure you're cleaning your tables up at home. Always glad to do that. But, just trying to maintain some humor and work through it. Just trying to maintain the contacts that we have. The weekly contacts with our coaches, just reminding them to stay on top of things and trying to find ways to recognize our seniors is a challenge right now.
And just a note, kids watching this and listening to this, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. So just keep that in mind.
You haven't figured that out yet. You're in more trouble than you think.
Absolutely. And so now that we're in this era right now of social distancing and whatnot, and everything being suspended as far as spring sports go, in your travels to the office, maybe out in the neighborhood, as you said, you've been able to get out and see kids in the park and whatnot. Do you get the sense that these kids are getting support from the community as well around you, not just within the high school, but around the area, saying, hey, we're with you. We want you back out on the field as much as you want to be out there?
Yeah, our communities, our four communities are pretty supportive to begin with. And so, everyone I talk to just knows, they just really feel for our athletes. They feel for all of our kids. We get Night of the Arts, which is going to be rescheduled, but you have prom coming up. That's going to be rescheduled. Just some special activities you have as you go into May and in the school year. Hopefully we get back and we can reschedule those and finish the school year. It'll be different, but it'll be good. Same way with our sports seasons. If we get the okay on May 1 to come back and they give us a week to tune them up, it's going to be an abbreviated season, but we'll still get a chance to compete and have that spring season. I think that's really important.
And we'll see. All we can do is wait and see, and that's kind of the tough thing, obviously, as well for everybody involved. As an athletic director, you're obviously trying to make things flow as smooth as possible on the day-to-day basis. But we've also seen the OHSAA discuss and put out a statement that they're already looking towards the fall season, and maybe will things in the fall have to change or be altered like we've had in the winter and the spring. As an AD right now, are you looking down the road? Are you able to put an eye on the summer camps and into the fall, or are we just trying to get through right now and see if we can get a spring season in?
The main emphasis is make sure we can try to get a spring season in. But we've started that conversation with our coaches because that's part of the income they use for special things for the programs for the summer camps. But we're starting to have that discussion that, okay, if we can have this, we want to roll this back to August and have some semblance of the camps to maintain that contact with the younger kids. We're under construction at our high school right now, and so construction is probably suffering a little bit just by supply chains, and they need workers to show up as well. And I haven't heard anything to the contrary. And the bricks are going up on the side of the building. I see a lot of people going in and out when I'm there, so hopefully that's still on track because we want to be in that building come August. But not knowing just what our status is right now as far as our building, which will affect some of our home games going into August. To conjecture right now, August, I know we're still trying to get into our activities, our buildings in May. I was on a chat last week with ADs from across the country, and they're all trying to discuss the fall right now. If you're in a hot spot where it's going to pop up later in the summer, that maybe your peak is July, then yeah, I can see putting off the fall sports. But if Dr. Acton is correct and we hit our peak here in May and we start to flatten it out over the summer, then hopefully we can get everything started up in July, with our 10 days of training or abbreviated training, and then come August 1, start our practice and training for our fall athletes. So I think it's really early on our local level to conjecture on what the fall is going to bring, and we'll let the people who are who know the situation a little bit better address that for right now. But we're really focused on trying to get our kids back and get them playing in May.
And since everybody's under this stay-at-home order, except for the essential personnel, I know you're able to get to your office a couple times a week there. In comparison to what would be considered a normal spring day where none of this was happening, we would be in the office having this conversation. How much are you and your staff able to get accomplished on a daily basis compared to a normal day? Is it, maybe half of what you would normally get done, 3/4? Can you put a number on that and kind of tell us where we are on that?
My spring days are kind of weird because I do a lot of facility care during the spring. And so any scheduling that we can do or cancellations or scheduling games for the fall, we scheduled some junior high tennis and some JV soccer this morning. We can still communicate with ADs online, and we still have that ability and enter our schedules and schedule officials for games online. We can still do that, which is probably about half of the day. But my normal spring day would probably start in the morning at Fairfax Field, getting that ready for the day's baseball games, head out to Terrace Park to Stanton Field, getting that field ready for the soccer games, painting lacrosse lines or making the stadium ready to go, print out rosters and announcements for our games, doing our weekly podcast with you guys. So all that part has changed. We just don't have that business there, but still checking emails, checking in with coaches, doing our scheduling. That part still remains. So we're running about 50% on that part, and then just doing some go ahead work now to get us ready for the fall.
Lastly, before I let you go, two questions. Number one, how eager and how chomping at the bit are you to get back to work on a daily basis? And number two, how eager is your family to get you back to work on a daily basis and out of the house?
Well, I think we're practicing social distance in the house, so so that part maintains it. It's been crazy because I had a knee replacement back at the end of December, and so I was on a partial schedule up almost through February, and I get back in for a couple full weeks in March, and we're shut down. So I'm really missing getting back to the routine and just seeing everybody and getting the job done, because we like that excitement in our community. We like that excitement with our kids, just looking to get back and getting that going. So you really don't miss something like that until you're not around it a lot. And I missed a lot of it in basketball and swimming, just not being there day in and day out, missing the games. And then this in the spring. I think we counted up earlier today. I think we've missed 6 boys lacrosse games, 6 girls lacrosse games, 17 baseball, and maybe 10 softball games so far, and 2 track meets. So this virus is winning right now. It's not going to win the war. It might have won a couple battles. It's not going to win the war. Our coaches are strong and resilient. Our athletes are strong and resilient, and our community is supportive. So we're going to get back to business, and we're going to come back just as strong as ever.
Can't wait for that to happen, Tom. I know you're ready to go. I can sense that all your student athletes are ready to go again. We certainly appreciate you taking some time today to talk to us about this, and we'll reconvene again soon. Hopefully we're back to some sense of normal.
Sounds good. Stay safe, stay healthy, keep your distance, and go Warriors. So we'll see you guys here in a couple of weeks, and thanks for reaching out and doing this.
Absolutely. That is Tom Nerl, Mariemont High School Athletic Director, joining us for the AD podcast here on MariemontSports.com and ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.